background on myself, my name is Jake Keegan. I'm a striker. I currently play with Forward Madison in USL League One. I've been playing professionally now. This will be my 9th season. I've played in Germany, Ireland for 3 seasons, at the NASL in Canada for 2 seasons, and then the last 2 years with Greenville Triumph in League One. So this will be my 3rd in League One. I've been playing soccer basically my whole life. Went to Binghamton University, Division I school in New York, and yeah, that's a little background into me.
So I'm actually from New York as well, so I know the area. Growing up there, you played in college.
What part of New York?
I'm from Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn. Okay, I'm like an hour-ish, maybe an hour and a half away from you, a little bit upstate, Hudson Valley.
Yeah. I'm familiar. I'm familiar with the area too. So now, when you're growing up, like you say, you've been around soccer your whole life. As a number 9, as a striker, who's your football icons? Who do you look up to?
It's a good question. I think it's constantly changing. But as a smaller striker, I'm 5'9", so I've always kind of, I guess you could say like a Michael Owen. When I was 10, 11, 12, when he's at Liverpool, but I remember one of my first goals that I really vividly in my mind remember is Michael Owen at the 98 World Cup when he goes through Argentina, the game that Beckham got sent off, but he scored a solo goal he took it from midfield and beat like 3 guys and then scored. And that was when he was like 18 or 19. So he was like one of the first. Then I was a bit of like a Chicharito when he was at United, because again, he's a smaller striker, kind of gets goals with his movement.
Yeah.
And now it's tough to say. Like, obviously, I love Lewandowski. He's the best. And we have conversations in my group chat all the time about him or Harry Kane. And for me, there's no contest. I don't need to compare.
Yeah, he's just on fire.
Yeah, but he's a completely different player than me. So I always try to look up to players that play a similar style that I play. So yeah, when I was growing up, probably Michael Owen and Chicharito.
I like that. So now, have you always been a center forward, a striker, or has there been a career change? Has there been a position change?
Well, I think everyone, like every young player, if they're good, they always start out as a center midfielder for the most part, because you touch the ball more than anyone in that position. But when I was in high school, that's when I started to move up front. But I've always been a player throughout my professional career and in college. Like, there'd be seasons where I'd spend the majority of the time on the wing. Last season with Greenville, I spent the majority of the time more as like a number 10, even though I'm not a 10 at all. It's more like a withdrawn striker, but it's something that in my position, and I think it's a good thing, because teams want that versatility and they can sign you for a variety of positions, but can also be a bad thing, because if I was 6'2" and could only be a striker, can only do this, then teams will know this is where I play. And that's it. And if I'm not playing, then I'm on the bench. And some people look at on the bench as a terrible thing, but sometimes it's good, because you're resting, and when you get that next opportunity, you feel fresh and you're ready to go. Whereas for me, a lot of the time in my career, I've played maybe 5 games as a center forward, and then I played 5 games out wide, which is great. But then by the time I get back into what I feel like is my best position, which is as a center forward, I'm not I've still been playing, which is a good thing, but it can make things a little more difficult to perform at that one position.
Yeah. So I know versatility is a huge thing, and getting in the squad rotation every week. Do you think that that's something also challenging? Like, as far as, okay, now I can play left wing, I can play striker. Is there I have to take this guy's spot instead this week?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely challenging, and it's something that I wouldn't change, because I think it's helped kind of prolong my career. And coaches look at me and they say, he can do this for me, but he could also do this if it comes. And it's helped me play pretty much every game throughout my career, whether it's as a starter or as a sub, because I can do a lot of things. And I wouldn't change it, but yeah, it definitely can make things difficult in terms of your primary position and how you perform when you get the opportunities at your best position.
Got it. Cool. So can you tell us about signing your first professional contract?
Well, I have a bit of a weird case, because I wasn't like, when I signed my first contract, it was in Germany, like post-college contract. It was in Germany.
With Darmstadt.
FCA Darmstadt. But it wasn't like I got paid a little bit. I got housing. But to me, it didn't really feel like a professional contract. It's more semi-professional. And so that started my career. But it wasn't like I signed my MLS deal and I feel like a full-time pro now. So I kind of worked my way up. I started in the 6th division in Germany. And then even the next year, it was the second division of Ireland, which was I was a full-time contract, but even then I was like, I feel like I can play at a higher level, which I ended up doing. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint that one moment when I felt like, yeah, I've arrived on the professional level.
So now, when we're looking at that move to Darmstadt, how was that transitioning from U.S. soccer going to Europe and playing there?
It was probably the best thing for me in terms of it was an easy transition going to Darmstadt because of the level being a little bit lower than some other professional leagues that I played in. So I was able to right away get games, score a lot of goals, get a taste for what that next level would be like, and then transition. Then going to Ireland, I felt like I was more prepared. Whereas if I had started in Ireland first division, if I had started in MLS, if I even in the USL championship level, right out of college, I may not have been as prepared. So it was definitely a good thing for me.
That's awesome. So now we're looking at you going into 4 different countries, like you said. What is it like changing so much, changing a team, starting a new season with a brand new team, brand new teammates?
I love it, but it can definitely be difficult because you need to learn everyone's tendencies, everyone's personalities, especially when you get older and you're more of a leader. You have to figure out what works for this guy may not work for that guy, kind of from similar to a coaching perspective. So it's fun getting to meet new people and being exposed to different playing styles, different cultures. Obviously, Madison will be fairly similar to Greenville, but when you go to Ireland versus the U.S. or Germany versus the U.S., it's completely different. And sometimes there's a language barrier. But I think long-term it's helped me because I've been able to kind of learn different styles and then see which works best for me.
So did your German improve when you got to Darmstadt? Do you speak a little bit or what?
Ambition. No, I basically know nothing. I can maybe order something here and there, but that was like 8 years ago now, and I was only there for half of the season, so not much.
So now, in your single season with St. Patrick's Athletic in the first division in Ireland, you bagged 12 goals in all competitions. Do you think that this is where everything started coming to fruition for you?
No, honestly, I think it was in Galway. I think it was before that. So I had 2 stints in Ireland. I was with Galway in the second division, 2014. Then we got promoted to the first division. And I think those 2 years in Galway that's when really everything kind of took off. The second season especially, because going from the second division to the first, people were kind of like, can they perform at the same level or can he perform at the same level? And I showed that I could. I scored 16 goals in all competitions. We made the cup final. We stayed up. And I feel like that was the year that I really validated myself.
Yeah, you just started on the come up, just grinding it day in, day out, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's funny because like you compare the experiences you have at the start of your career and they're completely different. Like the places that you live, some of the training conditions or gym conditions, they're just I don't know as a 30-year-old if I would put up with them now, but like looking back, they definitely helped me because you don't have much. Like you're not like you had in college. Everything's like new equipment, new facilities, everything's nice. And you go over to Europe and sometimes it's not always like that.
Yeah. So now when we move back to the U.S., we're going to look at Greenville Triumph. And that was 2019, 2020, 2 seasons for you. The 2020 winning season. How does it feel to be a part of that team?
Oh, it's great. It's great. Anytime on any level you're part of like a championship team, you're going to remember that for the rest of your life. And you always feel a bond to those players, to those coaching staff, to the front office, to everybody in the club because we accomplished something great. And going into Greenville the first year, we didn't have anywhere near as good of a team as we ended up having the second year. But even because then we knew we had to build something. We had a lot of young players. We had to kind of teach them the professional way, like hold them accountable for all these different things. And even throughout the first year, we weren't great at the beginning, but we kept improving. And then we made the final. And then from the 2019 to 2020, we improved our team even more. And last season, we were, in my opinion, clearly the best team in the league.
Of course. And I know it was a weird season for everyone.
Yeah.
How was that challenge? How was that difficulty added with the COVID-19?
It was weird. I think we did a great job of just kind of staying the course and controlling what we could control. And I think the coaching staff, in fairness to them, we had, so like from March till May, we didn't really train at all. We just had Zoom workouts because we weren't allowed to. And then once May happened, we were able to go in like groups of 4 and then slowly groups of maybe 8, and then eventually full team training. And then the season started in July. But I think the coaching staff did a great job during those May and June months, really working on things that would help us once the season started, and not so much just focusing on fitness. I heard some other teams around the league, they were just having like crazy fitness days. And if you don't even know, like, have a start date for the season, those fitness days are really pointless. You're just putting your body through something that it doesn't need to happen. So we saved our bodies. We worked on things that helped us lift the trophy in the end.
So now, while we're talking about the league, the USL League One, how do you feel like that compares to other leagues in the US?
It's a tough one because you see League One teams have friendlies with MLS teams, USL Championship teams. Like last year with Greenville, we played in preseason 4 USL Championship teams. We went 2-1-1. Wow. Yesterday, Greenville played DC United. They tied 1-1. So it's tough because I do think the top teams in League One, like Greenville last year, we would comfortably be mid-table and championship, maybe even like kind of top half. So it's tough to really compare. And I do think the championship level is definitely higher, but I don't think it's like, okay, we have 35 championship teams. They're all better than the 12 League One teams. It's not like that. It's very kind of intermixed. And even you can see that with the budgets as well. Like Greenville has a higher budget than a lot of USL Championship teams. So
do you wish at one point that we could see maybe relegation promotion in US soccer?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be good for competition. It'd be good for supporters. It'd be good for players themselves. Because now, like, I can tell you right now, if we were promoted, I'd still be in Greenville. Like, it's because that's what you want as a player. You want to keep testing yourself, keep testing. And that's how you hear the stories like a Jamie Vardy, guy who plays in the 8th division, because those leagues have to be kind of scouted in a sense because they can get promoted and there's a reason to compete. Like if in League One, yes, players still get signed in Championship and in MLS, but there's a cap on everything. Like, yes, Greenville can win, and Greenville could win again next year or this year. But at a certain point, ownership kind of gets bored because what are we doing? Like it's not like you're at the top. So like in NBA, NFL, all those different leagues, Brady has 7 Super Bowls now, but he's competing at the top level. I think people kind of get bored when you're at the 3rd level, like League One is, and they just kind of say, well, okay, we won the title, now what? And there's no movement. It's kind of sad that politics of the game and financial side of the game is ruining what could be a great thing and something that's a great thing all over the world, bar like a couple countries.
I agree, totally. So you, in January, have just signed with Forward Madison FC. I've seen you score a goal against them. It was a nice goal, too. But now, are you ready to start scoring goals for them?
Yes, I'm always ready. I hope we have a good season. It's something that, like, and you never know, a new club, and Madison has struggled to score goals the last couple of years, so I think it'll definitely be a big challenge, but they've been very good defensively, and we now have a lot of good players. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Good, that's awesome. So now, you being in Madison, Wisconsin for only 2 months now, right?
Well, not even. I just got here on Thursday, I believe it was. Yeah, Thursday. So I was in New York for the whole offseason.
So in this short period of time, what can you tell us that you've experienced so far? What's it like?
Not much, honestly. USL, we have some strict rules in terms of what we can and cannot do with the COVID stuff. But yesterday, it's been actually beautiful the 4 days I've been here. So yesterday, I live literally, I think, 2 blocks from the Capitol building, which is pretty sweet. So I walked there yesterday, and then I walked down, and it's maybe a 10-minute walk to one of the lakes. I don't remember which one. There's 2 lakes beside like Madison. The city is right in the middle. So I walked down to one of the lakes, like hung out there for a bit, and that was pretty much it.
Just a stroll here and there.
Yeah.
All right. So can you tell us one of your biggest challenges in your football career?
Biggest challenges? I would say the first year was probably the toughest in terms of after college. Had a good career at Binghamton, had a good PDL career, and then I got drafted in MLS. I was the low draft pick, so I was probably going to get cut anyway, but I never ended up going to Philadelphia Union like on trial. I decided to go to Israel on trial and with Maccabi Haifa. I just thought they were a big club, thought it was going to be a great opportunity. When that didn't work out, the union thing wasn't available anymore. So I just kind of had to go on these trials. So from January, from when I got drafted, I was basically on trial for 7 months until I signed with Darmstadt. I was in Israel, I was in Austria with three different teams. I was in the U.S. with Harrisburg City Islanders, New York Cosmos. I was in Germany with 3 clubs before I signed with Darmstadt. And it was just something that like I knew I just needed an opportunity. And the opportunity, that's what a lot of players don't understand. Sometimes you have to start kind of at the bottom to work your way up and prove yourself, because you're on the college level, no one cares. Unless you're going to go into MLS or you're a really top pick, maybe you can get a contract in Europe. In Europe, they don't care whether you're Division 3, Division 1, NAI. It doesn't matter. So I knew I needed that opportunity, and that Darmstadt opportunity was great for me. But that whole year was tough because I was on trial for 7 months. And then for 3 months that I was playing, I felt like I was better than the level. And I wasn't necessarily happy with it. I just knew I needed to kind of stick it out and score goals, basically. The goals, as a striker, goals speak volumes. So I was able to do that.
So you'd say the main challenge is definitely visibility, right? Being seen by these top teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Opportunity is everything.
So now I can ask you, what is your proudest football moment so far?
Okay, there's 3 top ones in my mind, and I don't know how to pick. And I've been asked this question before, and I don't know. So there's the 3 that I'm most proud of. Is, strangely enough, so I was part of a youth team, East Fishkill Thunder, and I was with that team from 8 until 19. So my whole youth career, I never went to academy, never did any of that. And we were like a local hometown club. My dad was the coach for a long time. Well, he was always the coach. He moved to assistant. So it was like a family thing.
Yeah.
And the last year when we were seniors in high school, we won State Cup, we won Region 1, and then we went to Nationals and we finished 3rd at National Championships, which we were playing against like future MLS guys. Danny Mwongo was #1 pick, Enzo Martinez, Eric Hurtado, Alex Martinez, like guys like that. And we were just a kind of a small town club. We didn't have very many Division 1 players. So that's 1. 2 would be winning promotion with Galway in 2014. And then 3 would be the Greenville one last season in 2020. But I don't know. You really want me to pick one?
You're going to have to.
I think I would pick Galway. 2014 would be #1.
Separates that from the rest. What do you say?
Just in my mind, that was the year that on the professional stage, I had arrived, and I felt like I was a massive part of the club. Like, I don't think we would have gotten promoted if I wasn't there. And promotion is something like you can't compare it. Like, yeah, we won the title last year at Greenville, but what? Like, but that's it. We just won. There's something more that goes along with winning promotion.
Yeah. So now you can look at your playing style in Europe. You can look at your playing style in the United States. Growing up, you went through the ranks here in Europe and the U.S. What do you see is the problem in the U.S. with developing youth players, and what are we doing right?
Well, I think to start, we're doing a lot right. You can see that with all the young players that are coming through all the academies and then going off into Europe, or even going off to Europe at like the age of 15, like Pulisic did. So I think, there's a lot that's right there in terms of that. I think people are getting a little ahead of themselves. I don't think those players necessarily are going to like win a World Cup one day. I think that's too much pressure on the young team, but it's a much better situation in terms of the young talent. And because you can see, like, we have guys at Barcelona, Juventus, Red Bull Leipzig, Chelsea, like all the big clubs in the Champions League, there's an American on it. 10 years ago, that was not happening. No. So we're farther along, but I don't want to put too much pressure on those young players because who knows. But what we're doing wrong, I would say, is it's a little too closed, similar to the way it's closed level. The system, it's tougher for maybe low income or people just maybe their parents literally just don't want to drive them to training because it's an hour and a half away. Maybe they live more in a rural area. So I think it's just opportunity, similar to what we're talking about with me with opportunity. So I do think we can find better ways. What I would do is I would say every youth club has to have a first team of some sort in some level of the pyramid, whether it be USL, MLS, UPSL, whatever. I'd try to find some way to have a promotion relegation on the youth level, so you can kind of work your way up. And then also you would have the first team, so the players have something to look up to. They have something to aspire to be, whether it's a PDL player that's 25 years old and he scores a lot of goals for his local team, or if it's if it's like an MLS player, like it's Joseph Martinez with Atlanta United. But I wouldn't. What they're doing now with the MLS, it's like MLS Next or something. I forgot what it's called. Mm-hmm. I don't like it because that is just MLS, which is fine. Like MLS, the academies are great, but I would also like to see a club like East Fishkill Thunder, say, my youth club. If we were good enough, we'd have to earn it on merit, of course. But if we were good enough, we should be able to play in the same league as Atlanta United.
Agreed. Growing up, I was in the same situation. I played for a small youth club out of my town. And it's just the thing that occurs is you don't get the same visibility as an academy, as a grown club, as a big name, you know?
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's what was the club? What was the club you played for? It wasn't Brooklyn Knights, was it?
No, it was Brooklyn Italians.
Oh, I know Brooklyn Italians. Yeah, we played against you guys a few times.
I know they do have a men's team. They have a first team. They played in the NPSL and ASL.
Yeah.
Now it's changed. Now it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So now, do you have a favorite goal of yours in your career?
I would probably say there's one where I kind of snuck behind the keeper. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was in Edmonton. It was in the Canadian Cup. So the keeper, the keeper had caught the ball on a cross, but I was behind him trying to score, and he put the ball down like to kick it out, and I stuck behind him, stole the ball, and then went around him and scored. So it was pretty cool because it went viral. So it was on like RLD Design and got like millions of views. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm actually just going to bring that up, your play style. So when I was watching, you make these runs that it's so awkward for defenders to track you. Is that something that you've always been like? Is that your top skill set, you'd say, as a forward?
Yeah, I would say movement and kind of persistence and work rate are my strengths. I think I can finish, but I don't think that I wouldn't put that in like number one. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know when it started. I think it just came about because to be successful, that's the way I have to play. I'm not going to be a big target striker that's holding off defenders. So I need to kind of be sneaky and make runs that they can't mark and they can't track me.
Yeah, I saw you just getting behind with these runs and they're lost. Really, you had three defenders on one play and you just went right in between them.
Yeah.
So we usually end with this question towards my fans, towards people on the account. So the people that are playing at the grassroots level, the non-league level, that still have the dream of going pro, semi-pro, making it big in the football world, what can you say? What's some advice that you can give them?
Oh, what age are these players? Any age?
12 to, let's just say, 20. That growth gap right there.
I would say just you got to keep working hard, but you also have to, as best as you can, try to slowly increase your level, both of your personal level of play and the level you play at. Like if you truly want to be a pro and you're in some low league in England or you're in, I don't know, the UPSL in the US, whatever the level is, you have to continue to slowly make those steps to improve. And eventually, if you get in these leagues that are slightly more visible and you're good enough, you will be seen. But you just have to stay persistent because it's not going to come easy. And sometimes you're going to have to do things that you don't want, and you're going to have to do things that make you uncomfortable. And maybe you're going to have to break up with your girlfriend, or you're going to have to make sacrifices. You're not going to go to prom. Like I didn't go to my prom. We had a state cup game, so I didn't go to prom. That was it. I didn't care. And sometimes you just have to make those sacrifices, put yourself in situations to make yourself uncomfortable, and you got to hope for the best because, quite frankly, like it does take a bit of luck as well. You have to be seen at the right time by the right person. You have to be playing your best. Like you're always trying to play your best, but it doesn't always happen. So you do need a little bit of luck. But I think if you put yourself in enough situations, you play the odds. And obviously the things that we don't even need to speak about, you need to train properly, you need to eat properly, you need to sleep properly, do all those things. But I'm just more talking about what you can do to put yourself in a position to succeed.
Love that. All right. Thank you again for coming on today. I wish you the best of luck in your season. If you want to say anything else, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, this was awesome. I love doing podcasts like this. I have my own, obviously. So I think it's great what you're doing, and I hope everyone out there enjoys themselves. Hopefully you can get back wherever you are. You can get back to fully playing as we should and be able to play at every level, because I know in a lot of countries the elite sports are allowed to play, but no, some of the grassroots aren't, which is quite unfortunate. I think it's quite wrong. But hopefully everybody is doing well. And thanks so much for having me on. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks, man. And I'll also put the link to your podcast in the bio.
My guy, thank you.
Take care.
All right.